Sorry.
Let's move on to case number 3. Case number 15-4V, the property at 55 Charles Street, Zone R1, and Mr. William Earl Smith as the appellant. The appellant is requesting a variance from ACC 23-1001, Table A, a schedule of bulk controls, to allow an addition to a house with a front yard setback of 20 feet and 6 inches, where 25 feet distance is the minimum requirement. And again, we don't have anything in the files for the plans, but I saw it today that they are trying to match the front of the garage, the new addition garage, to the extension of that point. Anything else that the code office would like to brief us on?
No, I think the letters and the
Pretty-
refusal is explanatory. They just want to expand the kitchen, and they're expanding it closer to the street than what's allowed.
Okay. Any questions? Mr. Smith, would you like to? But okay, Miss. Okay. Please state your name and your address.
Marilyn Smith, 55 Charles Street in Athens. We think the house was built probably in the early 50s. We bought it in 1988, and in the 90s, we turned the carport into a garage. Now, when we applied for the permit this time, we were told, we don't know how you got permission to build the garage where you did. It's too close. Well, the carport already existed. As near as we can tell, it was originally built with the house. It's built with the same materials, concrete block, and it had, the back wall was totally in. There was a roof on it. The north wall, I get my twisted around, all but 8 feet of it was totally in, because that's the side of the house. The other side, the wall was built halfway up. So essentially, when we got the permit to turn it into a garage, we finished the half wall. We extended the other side out 8 feet and put in the doors across the end. And basically the same footprint that was there from the beginning. At this point, we would like to extend the kitchen out, and we printed off some pictures to show, since we realized you hadn't received the plans. You know. And they were,
We can share them. Yeah, we can share.
we just want to
So she
extend
put
it
you to
out
work,
to
huh?
the end of the garage so that it wouldn't be any bigger footprint than it has been, but it would extend a little bit more across the front, but it won't be any closer to the street than the rest of it. We've been planning on redoing the kitchen ever since we bought the house. Been waiting to have the money saved, plus the time to sit down and plan it. We want to totally gut the kitchen. And when we bought it, I guess we were in a hurry. We didn't realize the only cupboard we looked at closely in the kitchen turned out to be the only cupboard that was wood. Everything else was just metal cupboards painted to look like wood. And we said, okay, we're going to gut the kitchen, redo everything, and particularly want to build it out, well, basically for 3 reasons. One, we want more room in there. Our family is starting to return to the area. We'll be able to have more family gatherings. We have a disabled son who lives at home, and various buses come to pick him up for different activities and things, and they pull up and want to turn onto, what's the street that turns into Hillcrest. They don't want to go up the hill and around, so they pull up, kind of make a swinging left turn over onto Hillcrest, which we can't see from where we are right now. So our son has to stand outdoors waiting to see. It's a really awkward problem. And the third reason, I've got serious macular degeneration. And we need as much light as possible. And where it is right now, the garage prevents a lot of light from coming into that kitchen window. If we extend the kitchen out equal to the garage line, then we'll be able to have a lot more light. We'll put in a large window. We'll be able to see a lot. I need lots of light in the house. I don't know if you know people with macular degeneration, but it's like looking through gray shears. And so basically that's what we're wanting to do. We can build it out 3.5 feet without the variance. But between the cost and we just don't think it would look very good to have it come out 3.5 feet and then another 4.5 feet for the garage. It would look kind of staggered. So we think aesthetically it would be much more pleasing if we brought it out the full 8 feet.
I have a quick question, and again, I think when I was there today, you mentioned that the extension will be from the garage up to the steps and past the steps?
No,
Or just going to be before this?
Yeah.
It stops at the steps, okay, before the steps, okay.
Right.
that's what we need the variance.
Yeah.
We're also going to move the front door forward 4 feet to the top of the
Legally,
stairs.
they can go
But
this
that,
far without a variance.
we don't need the variance.
Got it.
Okay. And the two issues that you mentioned that are serious to you, and we sympathize with those issues with the lighting and so on, but those are something that we can't consider because we are giving a variance to the property.
Yeah.
And, you may not be there for, you may go somewhere else and those situations may change. So the variance goes with the property forever. But that's more to mention.
But
Any
we do want to
questions?
emphasize it wouldn't be any bigger footprint towards the street than we've got now.
Right. And by the way, your house seems to be sitting closer to the street than your neighbors that they are right now.
I don't understand your last statement. It wouldn't be a
Right.
bigger
To me-
footprint.
Well,
It looks like a
it
big,
won't go any farther out than the garage already is.
So it would be a bigger
There'd be
footprint.
more
But it
lot
would be a
coverage,
bigger
though.
It wouldn't go any closer to the street than the overall property already is.
Which
part of
is,
the property,
which is
the garage.
non-conforming at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'd just be making it more
The
non-conforming.
only thing I could figure on this is why, and I asked the mayor, he was actually on the Board of Zoning Appeals at the time, why this was not required to have a front yard setback when they got the variance to do the project before. I don't know the answer, but it wasn't.
That was in 98.
The best thing that I can suggest is that there's a section of our code that allows for, if the property lines cannot be established, the code officer can use the curb as the setback. When we measure from the curb to the front of the garage, it is 25 feet. So we're assuming that's what the code office did 20-some years ago or whatever. But it's supposed to be, as you know, from the property line. Whether the carport was there or not is irrelevant. I do not understand when the addition was built, why it was not, or had to get a variance at that time for the front setback.
So
That's
in-
why I'm making it come through this time for the change of footprint
Right.
and cubic content.
So in effect, it is a legally non-conforming property, in a sense.
Well, I don't know if you can say it that way because it would have
They
been
have a
oversight on
variance.
our
They got the
office somehow.
Yeah, they
back
have a
then,
variance, so it's legal, but it doesn't conform
Yeah.
to the standards.
So that is
May I
correct.
make a statement?
Yes, please
I
state
don't
your
know
name.
if it was made clear or not, but when the house was built, it looks like, as near as we can tell, it certainly was when we moved in '88, that the roof line for the house included the full garage. And so what was under roof, under actual roof, included the space where the garage is.
Right.
The carport.
But-
Well, it was carport,
And
yeah.
I'm
Yes,
not
but a
denying that.
carport is different from
got it.
a two-story, three-story.
Again, I'm not
We got the
denying that
variance
part.
for the two-story.
What I'm saying is
I
in
know you did.
'98, you
Yes.
had to get a variance to do your other addition.
Yes.
And at that time, included in that variance should have been the front yard setback. And it was not, because that is a house, as you bought it, as the roof line was already not in compliance at that point. And it should have been included as a front yard setback variance at that time. And that's why you're here today.
We weren't asked for that, though, when we went to the board.
It doesn't matter what you asked for, it's a matter of what the code office should
No,
have
I mean,
found.
we weren't told that we needed to do that.
I agree, I agree, it's not
Yeah,
in there.
that's what he's saying.
So,
All right, thank you. So, yeah, you may be seated. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of this variance? Or speak in general? Okay, one more.
A couple of other points I wanted to make. I know in there it said we had to say whether or not it would be any detriment to any other property. We can't see that it could possibly be any detriment to any of the other property in the neighborhood. And also it said it wouldn't be detriment to any future development of property in the neighborhood. I can't see that it would have any impact at all, other than the
We
fact
have a
that
letter in here. Yeah.
it would improve
Yeah.
the value of our property, which ultimately improves the value of other property.
Yeah, okay, we have a
Quick,
letter
I
in
have a
here
quick
which we will
question.
discuss later.
Facing your property to the left, is that an additional lot?
It's a half lot, of which a lot of it is on a hill.
Right, it's a half lot. Is that part of your property or part of your neighbor's?
It's our property.
That half lot?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And do the neighbors that adjoin then have the other half of that lot?
I think it was only a half lot to begin with.
Okay.
I think
Okay,
it
thank
is.
you.
I think it is.
And I was about to say that if there was anyone who would like to speak in opposition of this, yes. I will read it.
My name is Karen Williams, and my husband David and I live next door to the Smiths at 59 Charles Street on their north side. We are here tonight to register our opposition to the Smiths' request for a variance for a proposed addition to the front of their house. I should mention that we were not in Athens when Mr. Smith went around the neighborhood with a sheet for the neighbors to sign indicating no objections. But as a result of that, the only conversations we've had with them have been informal over the last year or so. But it is my understanding that front setback zoning restrictions are set in place to ensure equal and consistent visual space for everyone in a neighborhood. Charles Street has been a neighborhood of modest homes with irregular setbacks from the street. As far as I can see, the Smiths' current building does not conform to the usual setback requirements, which apparently Mr. Paskey has already said. They were granted a variance for a huge 3-story addition, the plans for which I looked at the code office, bear no relationship to the eventual building, which instead of slanting down to the garage from the back, down to the level of the garage, instead carry all the way on and are now directly above the garage. So we now have 2 full stories and more above the garage, plus 3 stories in the back because the house is on a hill. So I really don't think that the requested variance for this proposal for the addition to extend the kitchen is really in the best interests of the Smiths neighbors in our neighborhood, and we really would urge you to vote against it. Their house is already, depending on whether you're looking at the auditor's office or another commercial real estate site, is already 3,355 square feet. The majority of houses on Charles Street are 21, 25. A real estate site, in fact, says that it's measuring at 4,100 square feet. It's an enormous house as it stands now. And so adding that much more weight to the front of this house seems unnecessary to at least their neighbors on the north.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak in opposition? Thank you. We do have a letter signed by 18 neighbors, and they seem all to be on Charles Street.
I'd like to add that is
Yeah.
17 now. I had one call me today and wish to be removed
Okay.
off of that list.
So,
Yeah, I will read that.
17 lots.
So we have 17 neighbors all on Charles Street that have shown their support, and they say that they support this project, this addition, and it will not be a detriment to the adjacent property. We also have a letter from Joseph and Linda Berman at 52 Charles Street. And it's a long letter, but they basically say we are concerned about the effect this proposed frontal addition to 55 Charles will have on the curb appeal of the houses in its direct vicinity. So there's opposition. So you get one more chance if you want to address this letter.
I'd like to clarify, we have one floor above what was the existing carport, not two floors, it's one floor above, and because we've got a walk-in basement, if you look at the house from the rear, it does look like 3 because it's a walk-in, but from the front, it's only 2 stories. We intend to do a lot to improve the curb appeal, talking about various ways to finish off the front when we're through, and certainly are very interested in curb appeal in terms of landscaping and this type of thing. There was one other point I wanted to make.
One of the Berman's concerns was...
Would you please come to the podium?
Yes. I said I wasn't going to talk, I'm sorry. One of the concerns that Linda Berman had, that she told me personally, I assume is in the letter, she was concerned that the front door was going to look like it was back in a big tunnel, which would cause it to be unattractive. That's not really the case. As I said, the front door is being moved forward 4 feet, which we're going to do anyway because we don't need the variance for that. And it's totally open on the north side, so it will not be...
She felt walking past part of the addition would be unattractive, but we've looked in a lot of house plan books, and there are a lot of house plans where you walk past part of the house to get to the front door.
Okay, so the front door will be in the front, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
The only issue is the setback rather than the front door.
Yeah.
Well, that's what mentioned in there. All right, thank you. Well, discussion is closed from the floor. Any discussion among the board members?
Yeah.
And Ed, you lost your chance for voting for that case, so. Motion? Discussion?
I move that the board consider case 1504V, 55 Charles Street, appellant William Earl Smith, requesting a variance from AAC 231001, Table A, Schedule B of all controls, to allow an addition to a house with a front yard setback of 20 feet 6 inches, where 25 feet distance is the minimum requirement.
Can I,
Yeah.
before I second, it says 20 feet 6 inches, but then in the numbers numerically
I
it
know,
says...
I should probably
Right, that's
put
correct.
it, 20 feet 6 inches. I just put 20.5 feet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
that's
what I
0.5,
said when I
okay.
was reading it, but
Okay.
yes, I got it.
Second then.
Okay, let's go through the findings. Exceptional circumstances. There are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applying to the property in question or to the intended use of the property that do not apply generally to other properties or classes or uses in the same zone. I don't see any exceptional.
I don't see an exceptional circumstance.
Practical difficulty and undue hardship. Because of exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions pertaining to a specific piece of property, the literal enforcement of these regulations will result in practical difficulty or undue hardship that is unnecessary to the achievement of the public purposes. Again,
Since there's no exceptional
I don't see it.
circumstance, then
Yeah.
there's no hardship.
Preservation of equal property rights. Literal interpretation of these regulations would deprive the appellant of rights commonly enjoyed by others in the same zone and the same vicinity, while granting of the requested variance will not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied to other properties in the same zone and the same vicinity. I think this property has already been given
Right,
additional
I don't
privileges.
think that one is met.
Yeah. Any other?
No,
No.
I think you're right.
Minimum variance. The variance granted is the minimum variance required to make possible the reasonable use of the property.
No, it's already a quite large house and it's already in the front setback.
Absence of detriment. The authorizing of such variance will not be substantial detriment to the adjacent property and will not materially impair the purpose of the zoning code or the public interest.
Well, for some it's a detriment,
Right,
for some
some
it
people-
isn't, so we
Right.
have feedback in both
True,
directions.
but the
Yeah.
detriment comes from the people who are closest,
That is absolutely correct,
who are affected by it.
yes.
And not of a general nature. So I won't even read that one.
No, it's not.
Now, once we have a full shot of all the members, we're going to go for a vote. All in favor of this variance, please raise your hand. All opposed, raise your hand. Okay, so I'm sorry we don't have the variance. The variance is denied, vote of 5-0. And the last case, Mr. Volunteer, you've been doing a lot of homework, Heinz. So you're ready for it, right? Case number 15-5V, property at 16 West State Street, and Michael Smeltzer, appellant, and zone is B3. The appellant is requesting a variance from ACC 2310-01, Table A schedule of bulk controls to allow a renovation and change of use from commercial only to mixed commercial residential of a building with a right side setback of 0 feet, where 5 feet distance is the minimum requirement. Mr. Paskey.
Well, your only just thought out, you might want to take them off the mic up there. You got smaller ones?
Oh, you got the smaller ones? Thank you.
Oh, here, you can pass it.
Thank you.
Briefly, this is the Edwalker's old law office that Michael Smeltzer purchased, and he's wishing to tear off there's two additions, correct me if I'm wrong, that have been built on the house over the years, a shed roof and then another one. They're wanting to tear off one of the additions, and then the shed roof part, build a second floor on top of, to add 2 bedrooms? 2 bedrooms, and there's currently office space upstairs now, so there'll be a total of 3 bedrooms upstairs. It's a rental above a commercial space. The square footage of the proposed building will actually be less than what's there now, and they will have all the parking and everything, but this variance is because the building, it's a change of use, change of footprint, change of, roof line, change of occupancy, obviously, and the existing building is on the east side property line as it exists. So the variance basically is for something that already exists.
Please clarify the number of bedrooms that will be there in the whole thing.
3
total?
3 total.
Okay. And you have parking?
Is it parking?
So what you're saying is that there were 2 additions, there's the original house, and then there's one addition that appears to be more within the keeping of the
I call it an
original house,
addition.
and then there's this 3rd addition. Is that 3rd Or
Well,
second
second.
addition coming down?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's gone completely?
Gone completely.
Okay, and so the second floor will be put on that small shed roof in the back?
Correct.
Okay.
Am I saying that right? I think. I call that an addition. I don't have proof of that part is, but just my history of dealing with older homes, that those shed roof type additions were added on the back to add kitchens into and
Right, it's just that
restrooms
the
because,
wood and the trim were all very similar, so I thought maybe it had come with the house.
and it may
Yeah,
have, but
I think it came with the house.
I've seen over the years doing a lot of stuff at older communities that those were all added on when plumbing come around.
Yeah.
So, so I don't have any proof of that, but so I'm just for sake of argument calling it an addition.
So
but-
basically, the original house stands.
Correct.
The addition is eliminated, and the second story goes
On that shed
the
roof part.
one-story part of the original house.
Got it.
Any other questions for Mr. Pansky? Are you the appellant? Okay.
Thank you very much. John Ballantyne, RBC Architects. And I guess you're here long enough, I think I put that addition on back 1983, and we're going to tear it off. But first of all, this house is on the historic register, and I think that what we're trying to do here is in keeping the character of the house intact. Anything that we're going to be doing here does not involve the State Street elevation. We will be adding a door to the side so that the apartment has a separate entrance than the commercial first floor off the porch. And I think I'm just going to read through my little notes here, and I think a lot of it, or some of it, has already been explained by John. The project involves the removing of a rear one-story addition to the existing two-story frame house. The current use of the building, or the use it was, it's empty at this point, was business, first and second floor. The rear section to be removed is a single story, and I think the addition that we're going to be adding is about 238 square feet, but it's not really an addition, I would not say. It's actually being built on top of the existing first floor. That's one story at the rear of the building. The reason that I know that that was existing, because even when we put the addition on in 1983, we left the siding and everything on that first one-story part. I've already checked that out, and it's got a stone foundation, and that's the access for the basement. So it was all part of the original structure. The intention really is to just emulate that and make the roof lines and everything match up to a two-story instead of a one-story appendage at the rear of that building. I believe that wouldn't be the reason that we're here necessarily for an appeal. The problem is if you can see on the site plan, the house does not sit parallel to the property lines. And we don't quite have a zero setback on the side. I think the east side, if you averaged it out, we have a 2.3 foot setback where a 5 foot setback is required. What we're going to do in light of things and concerns that we have and I have about safety of buildings in Athens, there are windows on the existing wood frame structure that are facing or encroaching on that setback, which is too short. We're going to take those windows off this building, if you can see by plan, and we're going to put in fire-rated construction, so there'll be no openings at all facing the side of the building, which does not have the proper setback. That includes the second-story wall that we're going to be constructing at the rear of the building will be a fire-rated wall with no penetrations either. The structure will be, because we're adding an apartment, the state of Ohio requires it'll be fully sprinkled. So there'll be a fire suppression system put in, not just the second floor, but the entire structure, basement, first floor, and second floor. Not that it matters a whole lot, but the structure next door, the Random House building, I think Patrick Rose bought a few years ago, and we did renovations on it, and I also put a fire suppression system in that entire building as well. The exterior wall of that building is a 14-inch masonry construction. It does have a couple window openings on it, but it could be considered, or should be considered, it's a firewall, essentially, with a couple openings in it, but hopefully they're protected from the spread of fire by having a suppression system on both sides of that wall now. This building and the internal makings of that building. I'm just going to go through now, and I think that's pretty much the gist of what we're doing. Actually, another point, the addition that is going to be removed is also in violation of the setbacks. So it's going to be gone, and the setback requirement for this particular building on the left side or the west elevation will conform with code, whereas right now it doesn't. The practical difficulty that is, and that in this particular instance, for this existing building, was built in a location that does not meet the zoning code. The siting of this particular structure on the lot creates a non-conforming situation. Exceptional circumstances result by the positioning of the structure on the lot. Unlike other buildings in this zone, the property lines in the building footprint are not parallel. This fact makes it difficult to comply with the zoning code for the side yard setback. The preservation of equal property rights is maintained by granting this variance, in our opinion. The uses intended for the structure are in conformance with the zoning code. All adjacent structures and a majority of the structures in this portion of the B3 zone are constructed on or near the property lines. The second-story addition and all building openings which are in violation are to be rated as required by the state of Ohio. This is a house in a B3 zone. I mean, we've seen this happen. It happens in Athens, but there aren't a whole lot of situations that are exactly like this. And so we're trying to make and preserve this historic structure within the framework of this B3 zone, which is becoming more and more compacted, and making the building safe for its occupants and for the occupants of the adjacent buildings. The public interest is maintained with this request we're making, since the existing historic structure is being preserved. The small second floor addition at the rear will be built in the same family of design as the rest of the building. The clapboard trim, the roofs will match. Not that it's hugely important, since it's not going to be really visible to the public, but hopefully it'll make this building whole and look like a whole structure. The street elevation will not be affected by the modifications except for the side door we're adding. We're not putting a roof over that door. We are having a porch to get to it, but we're trying to minimize the impact of having that secondary entrance and primarily focusing on keeping the building looking as it does right now. This request for a variance is required due to the location of the building on the site. This is a unique situation and requires special consideration. The intended use, again, as I indicated, is in conformance. So we're not asking for something that would not normally be permitted in this zone. Any questions?
You're going to keep the front gate?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, ma'am.
Will the secondary entrance be then on the north side, or be facing up the hill?
I
Yes.
don't think we do.
Okay, and will it be behind, there's a gate back there. that
No, it'll be in
runs-
front of that.
It'll be in front of that, okay.
We're going to be utilizing the existing interior staircase to access the second floor apartment. It will be, I'm trying to preserve the railing, the balusters, and all those elements that are in there now. But even that existing layout, which I don't know how I got it approved the first time through the state of Ohio, is illegal because we can't have an open stair in a building without an approved means of egress for even a business. So the current configuration of the interior space would not be permitted now because there's no approved means of egress out of the second floor.
So where exactly, so are you saying that the internal stairway to the second floor will be closed off?
From the first floor. It'll be accessed from the exterior.
Okay, and that's where this secondary entrance is going to,
That's going to be the primary entrance for the second floor.
okay.
All the windows on the second floor will be facing away from the firewall, and they will be egress available, second means of egress available for any tenants that are in that second floor space.
And how many, since you're taking off that back addition, how many parking spaces will there be?
I think we have in excess of the requirements right now. I think that Mr. Paskey and I determined that for this particular design, we need 6 spaces, and I think we have more than that.
Yeah, 9,
9.
if I remember right.
Okay, well, I counted at least 7 already, so
Yeah, well,
if
there-
you're going to have more then, okay.
It doesn't hurt to have more parking.
Yeah, no, that's not a problem.
What is the age of the original house?
The age of the original house, I think it's got to be the turn of the century from just it's 19-something, early, 10, 8, I'm not sure exactly. But just looking at the interior design and the woodworking, and just, I don't know specifically, but somebody probably does, but I bet you it's early 1900s.
It would be on a deed somewhere, we hope.
Any other questions for Mr. Valentour? Thank you, sir. Is there anyone who would like to speak in behalf or for this variance? Anyone who would like to speak in general commentary or opposition? No? Okay. Discussion is closed from the floor, and unless there's discussions from the board members, we can maybe make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I move that in case 1505V, we consider a variance from Athens City Code 231001, Table A, Schedule of Bulk Controls, to allow a renovation and change of use from commercial only to mixed commercial/residential of a building with a right side setback of 0 feet, where 5 feet distance is the minimum requirement.
A second.
Okay, let's go over the findings, exceptional circumstances.
It's oddly sited on its lot, not parallel to the lot line.
And obviously, buildings were built around it, so seems to. You've ever read the story of the little house?
The little house. I was
So
thinking of the same thing.
The little house.
It's the little house.
Practical difficulty and undue hardship?
That means you
Because
can't
of-
meet the setbacks.
Yeah. Mhm.
No way to do it.
No.
Right.
And actually, they're doing it on one side, their new proposal, so that's
On the
good.
other,
Preservation of equal property rights.
Doesn't apply.
Is this minimum variance?
yes.
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 Will there be absence of detriment to adjacent properties?
No detriment.
No
No
detriment.
detriment.
Not of a general nature?
No.
Okay. Are we ready to vote? Again, let's get everyone on the shot, on the white shot. Yeah, we didn't have that last time, so we didn't know who voted what.
Yeah.
All in favor of this variance, please raise your hand. All in the opposition, or, okay, we don't have any no's. 5-0, you have the variance.
come back.
Okay, the last item on the agenda is to approve last month's the position of the minutes for our February 10, 2015 meeting. Did you all read?
Yes.
Motion to
Yes.
approve?
Motion.
Okay. The minutes are approved. Do we have a second? Do we need a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? All right. Motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Meeting is adjourned.